and welcome to another episode of The Walk. My name's Gareth and today I'm in the city of Glasgow in Scotland, and I'm here to look at the remains of the Govan Graving Docks. Now, when these docks first opened in 1869, Glasgow, and indeed the Clyde in general, were basically world leaders in shipbuilding and shipping repair. Now, these docks, because of the sheer size of them, took it to the next level. Now, a lot of the remains of the shipbuilding here are long gone, but the Govan Graving Docks do remain, but not for long. Planning permission has just been granted for a brand new housing estate to be built on that site. So I thought I'd come along, have a look, see what remains before it's lost forever. So I'm just on some wasteland, basically, just next to the docks. I've got a bit of a confession. I can't get in. So I basically tried to get in there. It's all fenced off, but high barbed wire fence, and there's security. Now, I have been in there before, and as you can see, I was dressed ever so slightly different with my mate Rich. But the wasteland I'm on was also something significant, which you wouldn't think, basically. Do you know what I mean? So I'm basically walking around here. If you go around there, you should be able to get into the docks, but there's all this high fencing. But there is something going on in here. Let's have a look. Now, I'm not sure what this is all about. I've probably come the wrong way, and I've come near stingers. Ow! It's taken my hat off that branch. But there you go. We've got some kind of tower there, which I'm assuming was probably the entrance to a much bigger complex. Literally did steal my hat. I've even worn, like, a Gryffindor hat because I'm in Scotland. But I'll have a look on old maps and see what this area was then. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll get the drone up and I'll get plenty of footage for you of the docks, like I say, before they're gone forever. Now, the first one of them was opened in 1869, and at that point it was the largest, the deepest dry dock on the planet. So that is basically what made these docks stand out. Sorry, I'm blinding you there. What made these docks stand out, because obviously as the ships got bigger, as they did because they were moving more cargo or moving more people or whatever, a lot of the shipyards and a lot of the repair yards around the UK and indeed around the world couldn't really keep up. So they built the first one in 1869, that was the biggest. And then they built the second one in 1896, and that was the biggest. And then when they built the third one, the final one, in 1898, that then was the biggest, and by a long shot. So that kind of set them apart, really. Now, what's sad, indeed, you know, with the Clyde and the shipbuilding stuff here in general, is how much it's basically died. It's gone now. Now, they can find remains of shipbuilding on the River Clyde all the way back into the 15th century. Now, it's going to obviously go way back, you know, way further than that, you know, because you're going to go back into Viking times and stuff with these big, you know, longboats and stuff. And obviously the Scots would have been building their own ships to almost certainly oppose the Vikings out in the North Sea and all that kind of stuff. So it probably goes way back, but in terms of remains that they can find of shipbuilding yards, 15th century, so 1400s, I mean, that's incredibly old. But there was a demise, basically, into the 1970s, essentially. This area died, and eventually it was 1987 that the graving docks were gone forever, and they've basically sat derelict in the state they're in now. So it's a bit of a sickness to not be able to get in there, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, and actually, you know, have a real close-up look, especially at the building. You know, you've got that building there. I'd love to get in there. I'm assuming it's because it's not safe, probably. And of course, they're going to be preparing the ground and stuff in terms of, you know, the foundations and stuff for building houses on it. So I guess that's what's going on there now. But still, we get to have a look at it, you know, one final kind of, well, full stop, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, on the Govan Graving Docks, which is sad. It is sad. I mean, I'm all for preserving history, I'll be honest with you. So I'm not sure what the plans are. I did have a look online, but I saw a few things that they're quite contradictory, to be honest, in terms of what they're actually going to do with it. So hopefully it's along the lines of basically that building there is repaired and preserved, and the docks themselves are repaired and preserved. And you know, who knows, hey, if it's high-end building, you could have 3 swimming pools, couldn't you? You could have an Olympic swimming pool in a former dock. It would be nice, to be honest as well, thinking about it, if you put a ship in one of them. How nice would that be? You put a ship in there, maybe a hotel on the ship, so that at least it still gets to serve the purpose that it was built for. You know, back at a time when this area of the world, this area of Scotland, this area of Glasgow was basically a world leader, you know. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Not what I planned, I'll be honest with you. But I'm one of those people, I don't quit and I never say never. And I never walk away from stuff. So we've still got a bit of footage of it, and hopefully that's enough for you to like the video. As always, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And hopefully I can get into wherever I'm trying to go.